Hello and welcome to Strive Defense Dialogue. I'm your host, Brigadier Rakesh Bhatia. As you can see on the audience, we have requested General Harsha Kakkar once again and tell us about the latest article that he has written. It was very interesting one, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you.
Sir,
Always a pleasure being here with you.
thank you, sir. Sir, the latest article you have written about China, that India is actually showing the way to the world how to, stop or how to deal with the hegemonic China. Sir, before I hand over the stage to you, I want to give a small little historical context about how things were once upon a time and why we kept on appeasing China. Sir, the policy guidelines laid down by Nehru said avoid any action to challenge communists. And he also was scared of provoking China, especially with reference to Tibet. On 29th April, we had an agreement on trade and intercourse, and there we gave up extraterritorial rights and privileges which we enjoyed in Tibet, which included our mission in Lhasa, telegraphic line, and the protection up to Yatungs. And more importantly, we recognized Tibet as region of China. Now, this is all has happened in 1954. There was a very interesting letter which Sardar Patel had written to Mr. Nehru in on 7th of November 1950. And after a couple of months, Sardar Patel had died. He felt that the danger from north and northeast is both communist and imperialist when he's talking about China. He says the Chinese instill a false sense of confidence. And about ourselves, he said there is a lack of firmness and unnecessary apologies while dealing with China, and advised the hierarchy that stop appeasing China and simultaneously strengthen ourselves and pay back in the same language that China understands. Very quickly, there are few hegemonic actions which China took against us. We are all aware of Aksai Chain. He's still occupying it. 1962 was a humiliating defeat for India despite Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai and Panchshil agreement. Tibet, he has weakened India's strategic position. The disputes on the border continue. China has gained militarily and strategically in the border regions, and by supporting Pakistan, he's diminished India's clout. In addition, he's also supported insurgency in Northeast for many, many years. But it's not that he's been getting away with all the actions. We had given him a bloody nose in Nathula in 1957 and Samdrangcho in 87, and the very recent example was in Galwan. We have opposed BRI, we have strengthened partnerships, strategic partnerships to counter China's hegemony, especially Quad. Economically, we have diversified, and more importantly, militarily, we are modernizing. Cyberspace, we have improved. Sir, with all this thing, I will now hand over to you. Despite being a prophetic prophecy given by Sardar Patel, why did we continue to appease China for so many years? And what has changed since Galwan that we have started standing up to China constantly? Over to you, sir.
See, initially, for a long time, we had a feeling that the Chinese were far stronger. In fact, if you look at 2013, when they had, like it's happened in 2020, when they infiltrated in Ladakh, the then Foreign Minister Salman Khurshid
Right.
flew to Beijing wanting them to get back. He went there with a request. A lot has changed. Changed in the sense India is a far more confident nation. We had a similar feeling that any war with Pakistan will lead to a nuclear strike or will expand to a nuclear war. The US believed in it so strongly that Kashmir was considered a nuclear flashpoint. We decided to take the risk in Balakot. What happened? You gave your message, that was good enough. So at some stage, India started realizing that I think it's about time we started countering China. Now, to counter China, what did you need to do? You first needed an economic growth. Let's take one thing very clear. We are way below China. But then there are things that change the scenario. Number one, your economy is growing. With a growing economy, you have more funds for defense. You have more funds for infrastructure development. The two major areas where you have a gap with China. Secondly, the aspect that you are now inducting in equipment and technology from the best in the world. Your alliances are with the best and the strongest in the world. You don't need them to come and fight on your part, but you need intelligence, you need inputs, you need technology, and that is what is coming back. The third, your development of infrastructure.
Yes.
You have begun changing that drastically. Now you look at all this impact, and I'm only going to come to the month of March 2024. 9th March, the Sela tunnel was inaugurated by the PM.
Yes.
Now the Sela tunnel at 3,500 feet, way below the 7,200 feet Sela Pass, gives you an all-weather connectivity to Tawang. By giving an all-weather connectivity to Tawang, you have removed whatever stronghold the Chinese had in the region in terms of infrastructure. Today, you can move up and down. First thing that the Chinese did, they screamed that how can you do such a thing when the border dispute has not been settled and we object to the PM's visit. And they even lodged a diplomatic protest. Nothing new. The government of India responded. The worry on the Chinese side got more pronounced when the military spokesman came into play and he made a similar comment that Arunachal Pradesh is ours. Interestingly, let's look at history. Till 1980, the Chinese only claimed Tawang.
Yes.
In 1980, they changed the claim to Arunachal. Complete. Now let's take another dichotomy, and this is the Chinese. They refused to accept the McMahon line with India. But they used the McMahon line to settle the border with Myanmar.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Secondly, they refused to accept the watershed principle in the McMahon line with India. But they used the same principle to settle the Mount Everest issue with Nepal.
Nepal.
Okay, so this is what the Chinese are. Now, this was the first set of objections in the month of March. Let's take the second set. India sanctioned 6,690 or 6,700 crores for the Arunachal Highway, which is going to
Trans
cut across.
Arunachal. Yes.
Okay, the Trans Arunachal Highway, which is going to cut across the state.
Correct.
It is going to help. You see, up till now, what was happening was the Chinese had interior lines of communication linking all their defenses because Tibet is a plateau. India had exterior lines of communication, which meant to enter a valley, you first have to come out of the other valley, move along, and then enter the next valley. So
Sir,
you had
I will
exterior lines.
I'll just add for our viewers, sir, like what Jal sir is telling. Any valley that you had to come, it was very interesting. Any district in Arunachal, you cannot travel from one district to another district without basically coming to Assam. You were
So you
going
had
back
to come
from
out.
LAC and come and touch Assam and then get into another valley. So that probably is going to change with this new highways.
So, moment that was sanctioned, China jumped again. How can you carry out development work in Arunachal as long as the thing is not settled?
Correct.
Because the concern is the moment this highway comes across, automatically the whole thing is going to change. Now, this was the second set. Let's come to the third set. Jaishankar went to Singapore. He said the Chinese claims are nonsense. There is absolute no validity in the claims. The moment the foreign minister makes that statement on a global platform, China began jumping. So this was the third set. Now, moment they began jumping, interestingly then, this happened yesterday, the Chinese spokesperson tweeted, he's unluckily blocked me, so I didn't get his tweet direct. I saw it through another network, where he supports the US stand on Panun
Yeah.
and asks India to observe international laws and regulations, whereas China observes none.
Absolutely.
It even
Yeah,
refused to accept
they are
UNCLOS agreement.
they are
Okay.
challenging all international laws
Acha. Now,
wherever possible.
and finally, we come down to the last stage was when Jaishankar made a comment in the Philippines that we back your claims in the South China Sea. Again,
Yes.
China jumped. So the whole month of March, what you have been seeing is a diplomatic war of words between India and China. India is refusing to back down. India is countering China at every stage in equal measure. Why? Because today we have the confidence of military capability, the confidence of closing the infrastructure projects. We are behind. There is no doubt. But you're closing the gap.
Yeah.
You have far stronger troops, far better trained troops, far more
Yes.
capable soldiers deployed along the LAC to thwart any attempt. You got surprised in 2022. You're not looking to be surprised again. And this period now, the month of March, the month of April, March is now over. You're now looking at April and you're looking at mid May. These 45 days when the elections are going to be in progress, there is going to be a lot of pressure. That is the time you have to make sure that there are no misadventures. A fact is, they're aware that India is willing to escalate. And let's see how far you go.
Yeah.
Another factor which gives the Indian government confidence to challenge the Chinese is now you've tested the Agni 5
Yeah.
with
Am I on?
MIRV. Now you've got entire China within your grip. Now that you've got that, you're in a position to say, look, friend, you launch one, I launch one.
Yeah.
You may have more than me, but you're not going to get away. And I'm not your number one enemy.
Yeah.
So you're going to lose from your number two enemy. Or you're going to suffer so badly from your number two enemy that you won't have the dum to challenge the number one. No, we are willing to take that stand. We are willing to challenge the Chinese hegemony, basically because we've now developed that capability. We've developed the confidence. And we know we can take a risk because we have the support
Yeah.
of the rest of the world. Look at one thing more, Rakesh. The Chinese have claimed the exclusive economic zone of Vietnam, claiming it to be theirs. They're claiming islands in the South China Sea. They're claiming islands in the North China Sea. They're claiming territory of Bhutan. They're claiming territory of India. Tell me one country in the world which supports China, supports any of the Chinese claims. And give me one country in the world which does not support what India says. Here the US has come out. Everyone is backing India.
Yeah.
You look at Philippines, you look at Japan, you look at Vietnam. The world is supporting them against the Chinese.
Yes.
So what does it mean? It means China is claims are not considered genuine. They are not considered to be correct. They're not considered to be legal.
Correct.
If you don't accept the UNCLOS, the arbitration
Agreed.
panel, which gave the decision in favor of the Philippines, where are you going to get the world support from? The only countries in the world which support China, that also possibly in the case of India, the only country which does would be Pakistan, nobody else. So
Absolutely.
that anyway is a waste.
Sir,
Right?
sorry, please continue, sir.
Really? That's what I wanted to say.
Okay. Sir, look at this. The way you saying it triggered a thought in my mind, sir. Today there are five communist countries. Russia is no longer communist. We have China, we have Vietnam, we have Laos, we have Cambodia, and we have North Korea, sir. Look at the way they are fighting with each other, sir. Russia and China do not see eye to eye.
No, today they
Vietnam,
are
it
for a
has a
change.
border issue, sir. Sorry,
I said today they're together for a change for different purposes, which is
for
why
different
Vladimir
reasons.
Putin's first foreign visit after being sworn in will be China.
Correct. But look at this so-called communist, but their ideology is so very different. So border issues with Russia, a communist, ideologically aligned country. Border issues with Vietnam, communist, comrade, brother in arm, whom they had supported, and then 1979 they entered. Problem with Laos, problem with Myanmar. I mean, everywhere they have a problem. I don't say that India does not have a problem, but we are the one who are okay with negotiations and peaceful negotiations and resolution. And but China, the way it is expanding, and
And
good
one thing very
sense,
interesting, see, Rakesh, one thing very interesting that comes up is we've had this standoff now possibly entering the fifth year.
yeah,
China knows it can't go further.
correct,
The point is, can it go back? Because if it goes back, then why the hell did you come in?
yes.
Right? It is going to be difficult for Xi Jinping to try and explain why did you come in if you can't go back? If you
What
have
is
to
the
go back.
face saving for him for?
So how do you resolve it? And India is unwilling to sit on dialogue. We're only going to do military to military and possibly the low level diplomatic talk until you decide to do. But on what conditions are you going to go back? You're not raising anything further. So basically, it is a very interesting state that China is in. Nobody wants to support it, nobody wants to back it. If you read the Global Times, you will find that they're crying about everything.
Yeah,
Whether it is India, whether it is the US, whether it is the Philippines, whether it is Japan, the only thing the Chinese mouthpieces are doing are crying because they're actually not getting the due respect
yeah,
which they should have got as a nation with that capability as the world's number two economic, military, whatever power you want to call it, because of their policies. And today, they're being challenged. Vietnam is challenging them. The
yes,
Philippines are challenging them. You have these incidents. It can't go beyond that as far as the Chinese are concerned because they know they'll ask. They know the whole conflict can blow up.
yeah,
There are two or three Philippine guys on that broken boat, which are being
yeah,
regularly given their ration and the rest of it.
correct.
And the Chinese are trying to stop this small action. It is threatening Japan. It's not able to go beyond that. It's trying here with India. It's not able to go beyond the war of words because if you decide to go, there is no surety where it will stop
Yes,
and where it will end up as far as the Chinese are concerned. One defeat, the reputation of the PLA drops and Xi Jinping is looking at another job. So there is a lot for China at stake. For us, what is at stake is the next 45 days.
yeah, that's right.
After which, for the next 5 years, the government is secure no matter what happens.
That is one, sir. Another little bit of concern of mine is, sir, actually, at the cost of repeating in the previous program, also I had said this. How is actually, we got, I will say, concerned and to bit of threatened just because China was able to create so much of infrastructure in Tibet. We will take probably 5 more years to come up to the entire thing.
See, we
So
don't
how
need to
to
match
how to
their
manage,
infrastructure.
sir?
We don't need to match their infrastructure. You have to realize that everything from China has to come from the mainland.
That's right.
For us, we don't need that level of infrastructure of railway lines coming all the way down. We have shorter distances, like in Ladakh. If you recollect, we moved in a full division by air in the shortest possible time. We have the capability, the ability. What we need is intra valley communications. What we need is the ability to fly in reserves. And I think if we can get the intra valley connectivity, we've got
Yeah.
the Chinooks to fly in reserves, we've got the airfields around. If we can do that, I think we'll be able to match the Chinese anywhere.
And sir, with Seda Tunnel coming, Zozila, Rotang, and the one in the central middle sector, sir, all these things coming, so our connectivity improves manifold. And then add that to the airfields and the Chinooks and the
You have the
distances and the air
no,
superiority.
and then you see for us the distances from where we have to move our equipment, our stocks, whether it's ammunition, whether it's replenishments, are far shorter. For Chinese, everything comes from the mainland. So for them, their communication networks are far different. Today, if you're looking at airfields, yes, the air power, you may say that it's got a better capability. But today, with the way you've seen that happening in Ukraine, you've seen that all over. You look at the way things are, how effective will air power be? Today, the very concept of air power is being disputed
Yeah.
because of the way you've got your anti-aircraft weapons, you've got a whole horde of missiles available. So the effectiveness of air power is always an issue which remains a bit in doubt. But if you have equal capability in terms of the drones coming in terms of the deep strike capability, your missile capability, I think you've achieved far more than what you need. So, what you are actually looking to do is taught. Why, for decades, we were not concerned was we had an affinity to the West
Yeah.
because we were always attacked from there, whether it was
Absolutely.
the Mughals, wherever it was. And we always had China as a barrier to the north, so we never bothered. It
Himalayas.
was the Himalaya as a barrier to the north. So today you're in a different state.
Sir, add another
Today your
dimension, sir,
communication is
in
gone.
the ocean, sir, Indian Ocean.
You look at it now, the way we've proved it in the last 100
Yeah.
days with the naval operations that have taken place,
In the Red Sea.
and the way you moved your two aircraft carriers together in a mission. And today, at the moment, your 10 submarines are out together.
Correct.
You've proved that the Indian Ocean is India's ocean. That's it, baby. No other way. We have the ability, we have the capability, and you've got to remember if the Chinese Navy comes in to operate in the Indian Ocean, they're operating 3,000 kilometers from base. We are in our own backyard. That makes a hell of a difference.
Correct. And sir, in light of what we have discussed, so keeping a conflict restricted in time and space today probably favors China. Sir, correct me if I'm wrong. Or
See,
expanding is in India's favor, sir.
today in any operations, both sides having the sort of nuclear weapons and the ranges that we both possess, expecting an all-out war is a dream. What is of more concern to us, especially in the current technological age or the social media age, as one would say, are going to be limited operations, limited in space and time, with the intention of displaying an adversary in bad light. After all, even a small incursion can have a national impact. Nobody wants to lose a kilometer. So the point is, you have to hold on to it. But if you don't have the capability of hitting back,
Yeah.
then an all-out war becomes an option. Your aim is to stop the concept of an all-out and to warn the adversary, you want to go all out, the damage to you will be as much as the damage to me. We both will have to be ready to face it. For India, China is a major enemy. For
Hmm.
China, India is not number one. It's looking
Sir,
at the world, so it's looking at the US. So for India, it is going to be limited in space and time.
okay.
And that is what we need to.
Sir, this brings me to another question, sir. Let's go sector wise. In the Ladakh sector, sir, we have shown it to them. Galwan, we've stood, we looked into their eyes. Our infrastructure is improving. Like I said, Zozila and Rotang is ready. In Sikkim sector, we had given them Doklams. We told them our resolve. Tawang, as it is, sir, we have fortified it so much in the past also. And then now with Sela Tunnel coming up, that Tawang also is taken care of, sir. In rest of the Arunachal Pradesh, they are also not very comfortable as far as road and connectivity is concerned, but we also have a work in progress.
Yes, yes. It is a time consuming job and it is work in progress. But the point is, you are looking at ensuring that will be in a position. Today, from what when I served in, say, in the, uh, where was that sector? Yeah, Walong sector, Walong Kibitu sector, I commanded my unit there. What I saw in 2002 when I left, and what it is today is a world of a difference. With the way
Yes,
the connectivity is gone, with the way the troops have moved, with the way the deployment is expanded, it's not going to be anywhere what it was in 62. No way, it's going to be the reverse. Because today you're sitting on the heights, you are dominating.
absolutely. So now the examples that you have actually given, sir, the Chinese also must have been taken by surprise, like we were taken by surprise in 1962. That okay, their necessity of we were expecting them to for a nice behavior, and they didn't. We carried on with nice behavior, and now it's not so nice behavior, sir. So
We
they
have,
are also
they're also surprised, which is why you find, that's why I said, if you just look at March alone, it is giving you an indicator of where the war of words is building up.
absolutely.
Right? And there has been nothing said from the main level. Max has been Jaishankar. And he has actually been poking the Chinese at every stage. Whether it was Singapore, whether it's the Philippines. He meant to say he doesn't know what he's saying. He's absolutely clear and he's conveying a firm message. We are here and we have the ability, friend, and that's it.
Sir, let's not forget the trade war. Let's not forget how we are hurting them in the trade. Today, there was
Yeah.
very interesting news that Mumbai has crossed the number of billionaires.
Huh.
It has more billionaires than Beijing's.
If you look at it, if you read the Global Times on the way the Indian government has got after the Chinese mobile companies,
Yes.
and it's not that the government was wrong, it is because these people were cheating the Indian government.
Uh,
And that's it.
Absolutely. So the trade wise also. So finally, sir, if I we normally talk about economy, we talk about diplomacy, we talk about military powers, and I think that's it, sir. So all these important things, I think I have.
We are improving. You see, we have a long way to go. There is no doubt about it. But what you are today is you have the ability to challenge the Chinese and tell them it's not your way or the
Correct.
highway. You have to come down and we are your equals. We may not be up to you, but as far as our region and our areas are concerned, we are your equal. And as far as the global standing is concerned, we are well above. Because
Yes.
that is the sort
We
of
are.
respect India has got globally vis-a-vis China.
Absolutely. Sir, our responsibilities towards the world are being recognized. Our benign nature of help vis-a-vis, I'll say, trade war which China unleashes on wherever it goes, whether it is Africa or we have examples of Sri Lanka's, that they are the one who have put them in the debt trap and we are the one who have bailed them out.
See,
So
you
these,
just no, no. Look at the way the game is. China is pushing its way into Maldives. China is pushing its way into Sri Lanka. India is pushing its way into Philippines. We are providing them with BrahMos missiles and the
BrahMos.
works. For whom?
Hmm.
Philippines is not going to fight with Myanmar or with Malaysia or with Vietnam.
Hmm.
And similarly, we are providing it to Vietnam.
Vietnam. That's
Whom are
right.
they aimed at? China. So we are getting ourselves there. While you are trying to get a base here, Indonesia has given us a base,
Yes.
a
And sir,
naval port for refueling and for rest and relief. So while
and
we are moving into their neighborhood, they're trying to move into us. So the game
yes.
continues.
Yes. But, sir, China has always considered Southeast Asia as its own backyard. Now, India's entry into their backyard is disturbing for them. And moreover, sir, I have a feeling, I'm not very sure, but I have a feeling with our satellite imagery capability improving and our way to look into it, possibility of we sharing our satellite and live what you call feed to Vietnam and Philippines or maybe to few other
We don't
countries
have,
in Southeast also
if you
must be
look
there,
at
sir.
it, see, if you look at it, the Philippines is already in a military alliance with the US,
Correct.
right? It's already there. If you look immediately after the G20 summit, President Biden flew to Vietnam. Why?
Correct.
Because the US is now re-establishing its network with Vietnam. What is the intention? India and Philippines, India, US, Philippines, Vietnam. We're all now getting together against whom?
Absolutely.
Why? Because
Absolutely.
that one nation is not one which is looking and helping others positively. It is being more selfish towards itself. And
Correct.
for that reason, it is losing out globally.
Sir, I think we have covered most of it. Shall we go ahead
Correct?
with the question, sir?
Please, please.
There's a very general question, sir, from JBJP. Ask a curiosity question to both Brigadier Sir and General Sir. Question: why, in the language lingo of military officers, China and Pakistan are referred or addressed as he, like talking about a male person? Please explain.
I guess that just comes out natural, nothing else.
Absolutely, sir. I know. Unless he pointed out, probably at least I didn't realize that we do this. Okay, sir.
There was one about the Chinese debt trap for okay. No, no. Oh,
I'll just go about, sir.
okay.
Ask,
Okay.
sir, how can a hostile foreign policy aid CCP? What is their end goal?
See, their end goal is basically a application of pressure. Somewhere or the other, if you look at it, it's not something which is new. You look at Tiananmen Square, you look at the way they handle their own populace, it is all application of force and pressure. A person whom they want to remove, they charge him with corruption. It
Yeah,
is a means by which you apply pressure on the populace. You cannot do
absolutely.
anything independently. Everything is controlled by the state. That is the sort of thing which is built into their psyche, into their concept, which is why you had the wolf warrior diplomacy coming out. You had a lot of these things coming out because it is something which is a part and parcel of the Chinese psyche, and a feeling that we've been suppressed for all these hundreds of years. Now that we're getting out, we need to bulldoze, and which is why they're looking at is expanding, expanding, expanding in every possible direction.
In fact, sir, I very interestingly, Mr. Mao, I think 1st of November, as soon as December 1949, he had made it very clear that their claim lines in Xinjiang, their claim lines in Tibet, and their claim lines in the islands of Vietnam, because Partly and Paracels
Correct.
that time were controlled by Vietnam, sir. Hainan, they spoke about Hainan also. So there they were very clear about it, said that what exactly is the expansion they needed. So yes, very rightly, sir, they had to get out of the century of humiliation. So probably they
Correct.
had, right, sir. We go ahead, sir. Relationship between China and Russia is only
Correct.
transactional.
Absolutely.
Russia remains apprehensive of China's intention. General Chaturvedi
Absolutely.
has said this, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Kumar Gopalan sir, he has said, General Kakkar sir, my pranams. Please conduct one program exclusively on the 7th
That
November, more
that
than 50.
Rakesh, That
Azad
Rakesh, you must do.
you
That
will do,
should be
sir.
yours.
Yes. Okay, sir. Ask surely India has plans to take Tibet in case of a conflict with China.
No, I
Please,
don't
can
think
you
so.
disclose some information?
No, I don't think so.
Nice. Kumar Gopalan has said another higher than Himalayas. Why Chinese are getting killed in the beggar start? Basically, I think he's
This
talking
is
about
Pakistan. No, it is
Pakistan.
because you see, I mean, I found a statement also made here. The Chinese investment will be a game changer for Pakistan, $100 billion in
Yes,
pipeline.
there was.
All that is nonsense because anywhere there is Chinese investment, it is a dead trap. Whether it's Sri
Absolutely.
Lanka, whether it's Maldives, you look at half of Africa, anywhere that the Chinese have gone in, it has been a dead trap. Pakistan is already in a dead trap. It cannot get out of it. The
Yes,
roads are being used by whom? You built a CPEC. Who's using the roads? The
absolutely,
Chinese government doesn't pay for the Chinese vehicles running on the road. No other country in the world uses Pakistan CPEC.
absolutely.
So what's the end result? So Pakistan is paying China for the roads which China wants to use. Pakistan is
And
given the land. Ultimately,
and
it's
yesterday,
made a
last
Charlie out of Pakistan, and maybe Pakistan has become a Charlie, and it will keep paying for the rest of its life.
and with what happened at Gwadar and last night at Turbat.
Ah, bus.
So with India having mastered MIRV technology, we are at par. However, in UCAV domain, we need to further
There's no
improve.
doubt.
That
There's no doubt, but
very interesting comment, sir, by Chinese. I think it was in your article that I read. They said that no, China is India's number one enemy. So this is
huh?
specially targeted at us. So it has been recognized by them. Ki, yes, we
Yeah,
are
yeah.
targeting them now, sir.
It is now because Pakistan is no threat.
Sir. Again, sir, John Chaturvedi is contributing to our thing in the
That is
domain of
because
air
of
power.
the
India
air power
definitely
effect.
absolutely, sir.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
because we take off from the planes, they're taking off from high altitude. So the quantum of load that you can carry when you take off from planes is far more higher
Yeah.
than the quantum of loads which you carry when you take off from the high altitude.
I'll request the viewers to please like, share, and subscribe while we are handling the questions because I see a lot of people are watching us live. And please press the like button. My comment: I'm very proud of our Air Force DBO without any support and secrecy. Air Force constructed, and these things never will happen in PLA. That's
Yes.
the comment from. Okay, so this is interesting one. What about the possibility of China blocking India's access to Sela Tunnel
It's
and
not
to
possible.
other roads and highways on our side?
It's not possible. It's too
It's not
far in
possible.
depth for them to do
Yes,
anything.
absolutely. Okay, so looking at both Russia, Ukraine, and Israel Hamas war, do you think it's very important for India to start induction of high-tech drones and anti-drone warfare systems?
Firstly, I think you missed the news, Shashi. We've already inducted the anti drone warfare systems along the LAC and partially along the LAC. The induction is on. High tech drones, we've got some level of our own. At the same time, what is more important is we're also going to go in for the Predator drones. The agreement is being signed, the discussion is on the cost. So while we're inducting our own, a large part of it we don't know, but we're also inducting in those. So you're going to have a fairly strong capability, possibly the next 3-4 years.
Colonel Siddharth said, sir, militarily we are equal. We
Siddharth
must
said, sir,
prove.
good evening. We must focus on it, sir. You're right. But the point is, are they willing to talk?
Yeah.
The question is, when you talk, it has to be coming to a stage of acceptance somewhere. The both sides being stuck so strong on their discussion. There was a time when Xi Jinping sitting with PM Modi in Ahmedabad when he was one of those great cultural, those lovely meetings that they had. He said, let's leave the border issue to the next generation because both the sides were very firmly stuck on what we believed in. Long back, the agreement was we'll accept Arunachal, you accept Aksai Chin. But the fact was that the whole thing came out because in the parliament statement post 62, it had been said that India will not rest till we get back Aksai Chin. You can't delete those words. So that is something which stuck on. That's what my knowledge states. I may be wrong. But the two sides have to be willing to give and take, which is not happening. That is why nothing much is.
Right, sir, we go ahead. There is a concern which has been shown by JVJP. I think we must answer his concern, sir. Ask General Kakkar, sir, can the two military officers, gentlemen present in this show tonight, give आश्वासन to Bharatiya Janata कि Bhutan में China will not be able to do a diplomatic coup as in Maldives?
Bhutan doesn't have a Chinese embassy.
Uh,
It's still dealing with the Chinese embassy in Delhi, and the government of India is there.
yes. No, but sir, we are planning a program very soon. The
Okay.
work has already started. I have requested
Okay.
one of the officers, so very soon we will be doing a program on Bhutan. Sir, this was for information
Good.
of our viewers. Sir.
Good.
Sir, I think by and large most of the questions are
एक ये
handled.
है
Sir, please.
नहीं one sec. There's that General Chaturvedi's question. What is the future of CPEC?
Correct. Sir. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. What is
See,
the future of CPEC with happenings in
if you
Turbat and Gawadar?
if you remember when it happened, the last time when it happened with the Dasu project, everything stalled for months on end. And the amount that China demanded in compensation shook the hell out of Pak. It was almost one fourth of the Pak economy, the Pak GDP that they demanded. And now with 9 dead, I think 6 of them being Chinese. That is the figure so far. I don't know. It may have gone up by now. But they're going to be a far higher demand, and it's going to add to the problem. So it's going to slow a lot of issues. And you got to remember that this is not the end. I mean, there's something which I've written on this, possibly wait for a day or two, it's going to get published. But this is not the end. There's going to be much more. Pak Afghanistan problems are going to build. It's going to get worse as far as KP and Balochistan is concerned. With Afghanistan and Iran getting closer, it's going to get even worse for Pakistan. So the fact is that it's actually surrounded by enemies on three sides: Afghanistan, Iran, India. So how much are the Chinese going to keep pumping in bad money? I mean, good money after bad? I don't know, because Pakistan cannot repay back. At some stage, I don't know what they're going to come out with, and I don't think they'll want to take over Pakistan and run it.
Absolutely, sir. Jal Chaturvedi has added on to Sabang in Indonesia at the mouth of
That is
Malakal,
gone.
two naval air stations north and south are useful for surveillance of maritime domain. That's correct, sir. Okay, sir. This is one question, sir.
Oh, it
Tarun, I
can't.
seem to
It
be a
can't.
new
It's
restricted,
not
sir.
easy. It's not
It's not
easy because it's part
correct.
of Tibet, and we have no really plans of anything as such as of now. But let's
Correct.
see with time. You never know how China implodes and what happens. Something one can never say.
Jan Dushyant's question is how do we manage the LAC, sir? I think
Today
he's
we have
hinting
the
on to the same
structures.
thing that I
We,
was saying that immediately how are we able to going to manage LAC, because now we are pretty close to the we've had two instances back to back, sir.
ah,
So do you expect some more intrusions, oblique walk-ins, oblique
the next.
face offs?
I've been saying that for a long time. The next 45 days are crucial, because this is the time when you can really impact what can happen to a nation politically. And a lot of people, including China, are not happy with the current dispensation. So one needs to be careful. Just go to the one above. So, I mean, we are at the moment very strong on the LAC. There are a lot of issues coming up. And I mean, we have strengthened it. And I think we are in a position to uh, block any such misadventures, not only for any other means, but you're doing a lot of close monitoring by electronic, by a whole lot of other means.
Correct.
and even with the assistance of our aides, of our supporters and allies.
Right, sir. I think we have covered by and large in good time, sir. Questions continue to come. I think we'll take one more, so we still can manage this. Does India need aggressive posture attention on China, Nepal, India border on central sector? This is an interesting one. We haven't touched the middle sector, sir, actually.
See, as far as Nepal is concerned, there are multiple views. Nepal pro India, pro China. The governments keep changing, whether it's Nepal, whether it's Sri Lanka, whether it's Maldives. You have one pro India, you have one anti or pro China. So that is how it keeps happening. But definitely, I mean, we have strengthened our sort of surveillance on the India Nepal border. You're not strengthened more than that. You don't need more than that. As far as the India China border is concerned in the central sector, a lot has changed. A lot has changed in the last few years, and you actually strengthened that border to the level that you now know you're in a position to hold them in case of any misadventures. Whether it's infrastructure, whether it's anything, a whole lot of stuff has changed, and I leave it at that.
And sir, whatever you may say, geography, because see, the connectivity from mainland, because Tibet में तो कुछ उगता ही नहीं है, तो connectivity और जो भी feed करना है नेपाल को has to come all the way from mainland, and look
There's
at
no
our
doubt.
distances. So
No, no, there's no doubt. You see, come whatever may, these countries, whether it's Nepal, whether it's Sri Lanka, whether it's Maldives, will definitely try and fleece from both sides. Why do you think now Moizu is now commenting
yes, I was
that
about to
India
say
is a
that.
good friend and you must help us out with the loans that we've taken from
Yeah,
you. We're not in a position to repay. So the governments there will always play this game, one big brother versus the other.
actually, I have a feeling, sir, Nepal, Maldives, ये सर पॉलिटिशियंस अपना इलेक्शन जीतने के लिए तो एक थीम चला देते हैं, बट
It
व्हेन दे
does. You see,
गेट इनटू पावर दे रियलाइज कि इट्स नॉट प्रैक्टिकल, दे
if you
कैन नॉट
realize
लिव
that
विदाउट
I'd,
इंडिया.
I'd written a piece on the big brother syndrome.
आई नो, आई एम रेफरिंग फ्रॉम.
Wherever you have a big brother, you will always realize that there is always a threat or a fear of the big brother. And that is exploited at the local level. In any country elections of a small country with a big neighbor, that is exploited. Whether
Correct,
it's India, whether it's China. So the same game continues. Today, Japan is increasing its military budget not for any other threat, just China.
correct,
Done.
sir. I think we finished with the podcast, sir. We have covered a lot, sir. Quickly, what are the takeaways, sir? My question remains to you to cover diplomacy, economy, military, infrastructure, trades.
See,
How
as far
has
as
this helped all this thing?
See, when you look at it, it is ultimately the economy of yours which grows. When the economy grows, you can afford to provide funds for defense, for modernization of defense, for development of infrastructure, as also now the indigenization of defense has all combined together, and the political will which flows from a
Yes,
single party sitting on top. A political will, the message of it went via Balakot. It's displayed it with China now, unwillingness to bend. This conveys a message that you have the credibility to respond and you're willing to respond to any threats. Now, this sort of a message, when it goes, the adversary realizes that there is only so much pressure that I can apply, there's so much of push that I can. And that is where the relationship begins to take a turn. Today, the fact that for 4 years we have ignored all that diplomatic sort of moves forward. Wang Yi came to India not once, but he's come twice, thrice as the foreign minister of China. Every time we said, leave the border issue aside and let's build up on the others, we've said, no way. The fact that you're able to stand and say this and say, let hostilities remain, we will not restore it. Now, as far as trade is concerned, you've got to look for your own economy what is the best. If it's coming from there, it's cheaper, it meets your needs, fine. Fine if it benefits them there. You cannot stop it and make your people pay more and then reduce your own impact. But yes, where it counts on diplomacy, on alliances, on allies, you're not willing to pay.
सर बट चाइना ने भी तो अपना क्रेडिबिलिटी खत्म कर दी ना विद सो मेनी ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग्स एंड एग्रीमेंट एज लेट एज बीसीडीए व्हिच वाज डन इन 2013 उसके ऊपर भी देव नॉट स्टूड एंड देव डन गलवान सर तो नाउ
It
वी
is
आर
with
मोर
everyone.
कॉशियस.
That's what I'm saying. It's with every nation that China has behaved this way. So that's the attitude.
Sir, thank you very much for an excellent talk, sir. And we look forward. And I keep reading your articles. Ideas keep striking me, and I keep requesting you very nicely. You agree to do that, sir. I
Pleasure.
will. Thank you very much, sir. I'll request our viewers to please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much, sir. And Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you. Jayant. Bye. Take care.